All right, welcome to another episode of Ag Podcast. Your host Stephen Maxted, and today guest Duane Thiessen with Thiessen AgriVentures and Flamin Rentals. But Duane, you do a little bit more than that. We'll get into that right away. And thanks for making time to be on the episode today.
Absolutely.
Extra excited to have you on in terms of that little bonus topic I was mentioning, because it's work is one thing, but fitness and staying healthy is a passion of yours, and I think it's very important to cover both on today's episodes. It just seems to be a very correlating factor for folks who seem to be having success and just that drive. And I think it's a little bit of a lifestyle pattern that does definitely follow along that general guideline. But without me taking the mic for too long here, why don't you tell the listener a little bit about yourself and just a little bit of a background for context before we get into it.
Yeah, well, I'm Duane Thiessen, and I own and operate Thiessen AgriVentures, who are a Flamin Rentals dealer, rent out mostly ag equipment, a few trailers, and then also sideline passion, my hobby, whatever you want to call it. I work out quite regularly, and am a certified personal trainer as well. So, and I believe that's kind of helped me with my mindset and all that.
Absolutely.
And stuff, yeah.
No, I think that's great intro there. And how did you guys get into the on the egg side? Let's cover that first. How did this come to be for yourself? How did you become a dealership in town, and what kind of folks do you service with that?
Well, I farm, and I've grown up on a farm, and then I've always liked to help farmers out and stuff like that as well. But I've been aware of Flamin Group companies and Flamin Rentals, so we just applied to become a dealer, and everything just kind of unfolded from there. And a dealer in southern Manitoba here, and it's been good. Flamin's a great company to work with.
Yeah, I've heard lots of great things. I've met people over on the journey of my time in ag. I know outside of there that I worked with them in different capacities. They've always had very great things to say about them. And so what kind of equipment would you carry, and be specific on this one too, for the farm side, and how does that help farmers out locally there in terms of their needs? Because don't farms kind of normally have lots of equipment on farm, but they would still need some extra help once in a while?
Well, most of this it can be called occasional use equipment. Okay. So or use it on a rotational basis, and so I have it, and and they don't need to have that capital outlay, and just pay the rent, which is 100% write-off for expense. And it usually works out. Timing kind of gets tight sometimes, but everybody kind of wants some things all at the same time. But no, for the most part, it works out quite well, and able to help a wide and group of people, and we've got a wide area of service area that we're servicing as well with the ag equipment, from rollers, high-speed discs to heavy discs, and you name it. I can't even list off everything, but yeah.
So a lot of sorry to interrupt, but more like tilling equipment stuff, working the land is a lot of the equipment for you. Does it ever include like seeders or harvesting equipment?
No, that's just a little more specific to farmers. I think they usually have some of their own stuff for that, but we have more generic tillage equipment and high-speed discs and heavy discs. Cool. Stuff that they don't necessarily need. They'll need for a shorter window of time.
What's the area that you guys cover? You mentioned it's a big area, and I know that area down there does have a lot of farms as you are closer to the border.
I'll cover a lot of southern Manitoba already. Anywhere from it's kind of hard to describe the area, but I'll service just about anywhere I offer delivery as well. So it's the equipment can move, right? It's on wheels, so it can go.
Fantastic. No, that's great there. And Now yourself with the farming background, what do you guys grow on farm? And are you still involved in that to date, or are you
Yeah,
pretty busy?
I'm I'm growing wheat and canola and peas and yeah, a few other crops,
Yeah,
soybeans. Yeah.
great. And on the equipment side, when you were first getting into this, what was the main priority? Because I'm sure you've built this up over time. What were some of the first pieces of equipment that you guys would have started with?
Like heavy discs and land rollers and mower. Some of those kind of things were base equipment.
Yeah,
So yeah, you kind of have your baseline stuff you have that you start with and branch up from there.
awesome. That's good. And what about what started the other side of things for you in terms of like the fitness training? I think you might have been underplaying it a little bit because I follow you on many of the social medias. I know we had crossed paths in my ag background, but what really spurred on that fitness goal, or has it always been that way?
I've always had that mentality for it, and always
Yeah,
had an interest in working out, and so yeah, I've just uh, built from there, and I've yeah increased my intensity and became more focused on it, and yeah, and then decided, you know what, why not get certified? So I became a trainer and as well. So that's just a casual thing I do on the side as well.
very cool. That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
How do you balance that in a schedule? I know like agriculture as a industry is not so forgiving in like busy season, but how do you force and like make time? I'm sure that you're someone that does this um, to be in the gym and make that extra effort.
Well, whenever you kind of you schedule things, but then you make your business like your non-negotiables. Make sure that's you take care of that stuff first, and then I find my time when I get to the gym, whether in harvest to be in the morning, earlier in the morning, and then any other time I usually work out later afternoon or evenings
What's
after
your
I'm done
go-to
things. Yeah.
to work out? Is it in the morning or in the evening for you? What do you prefer?
I prefer later on because then I'm caught up on everything, and yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah. I know that is such a well, not even a hot debate, just a funny debate within folks that do make the time of like when is the better time to do it. And
hmm
I've seen both sides, but I personally prefer like get it done first thing in the morning. That way, it's not it's already completed, or part of it
yeah,
is. If I want to go
yeah,
back again and do more,
yeah,
then it's
exactly, yeah, sure,
yeah,
yeah, you can
uh,
play both ways, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And what would you say, like, the kinds of farms that are using the equipment? We'll bounce back and forth here.
hmm
Are using the equipment and stuff from you guys? Like, is it every size farm that's using the equipment? Like, how would you best describe folks who are in the space with you?
It varies. I mean, there's small farms, there's large farms, there's anybody gets will call me for equipment, and yeah.
Awesome. What's the without probably getting like too detailed here, but I'm sure that not everything always runs smooth. What's kind of like a story that you could share to the listener here about a rental gone wild or wrong? Some kind of experience. I don't want it to necessarily be negative in nature, but it may be. What would that look like for you guys on the rental side? Any unique
Well, if
stories?
we're that- it's not usually a big deal, but if we're running a tight window on equipment, like it's got to go to the next guy right away. But then to get back from somebody, it's either dirty or there's a bearing that needs to be done, changed or something, whatever, some sort of repair. So there's a bit of time, and we just have to yeah, adjust for timing there.
Right.
So usually not too big a deal, but
Yeah.
try to make it work, make
Nice.
everything work.
And how big are these implements? I know we have a visual behind you there, and you said this is a photograph from what would appear to be like on site, but just for the sheer like scale of this, I mean, most vehicles are about 20 feet long ish, and that's like a good small reference for the everyday driver who's not familiar with the ag side. But how long or how wide do these go? Like we're not talking just small pieces of equipment here. We're talking quite large, even though you mentioned they are on wheels, but yeah, how wide do these ones go that are
Well,
behind?
my biggest, heaviest piece of equipment is that blue disc behind me there.
Yeah.
And that's a Kinsey mock till. That's 36 feet. But that's, yeah, probably the heaviest and biggest that way. But I have a 60-foot rotary harrow as well, which is the widest piece of equipment I have. So, but that's not nearly, it doesn't have the weight of the disc.
Right.
Yeah.
How was this spring different than others? I know that we've experienced locally in Manitoba here a lot of rain. And what was that like for you guys this year?
It's kind of, as far as rentals go, it was a bit broken up a bit, but there's still plenty of demand for things, and it changed the demand a bit to rotary harrows, which is more of a helps dry out the ground a bit too and stuff, and yeah.
Okay. So different types of equipment were rented this season because of that moisture on some of the land.
Yeah, it kind of shifts a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then in terms of like, as we're looking into like summer and we're seeing, I guess, like moisture still be pretty strong right now. I don't know what the forecast, I mean, it's never 100%, but are folks renting other equipment to do work on land for drainage for future years with you guys, or is that something?
Drainage, well, I've got a bunch of drainage equipment that I have,
Okay.
and I'm hopefully getting more stuff. But yeah, that'll be more used probably in fall.
Okay.
But once the harvest is done. But yeah, looking forward to getting some of those pieces out there.
Awesome. And how about like this time? I guess we're talking, and this will be released a few weeks out. But midsummer, we'll call it like July, August. What's a popular piece of equipment that folks are renting from you this time of year, or is this kind of a little bit?
It's a little bit quieter time now. We're going to be going as we get into harvest. Guys are more focused on the harvest, and I mean, I have a 15-foot Schulte mower that'll get used once in a while, but yeah, other than that, like when the harvest is going, it's pretty kind of focused on harvest. But then the last week or two of harvesting, the guys start thinking what's next, and then we'll start getting calls for tillage and whatnot. Yeah.
Right. When does that normally start on the calendar for both like harvest and I guess like after that?
We're talking like mid to later August, obviously, usually, but yeah, every year's got is different. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
What's the most common way in your business, Duane, that folks rent or book this equipment with you? Is it often a phone call? Or are they like booking way ahead? They know on the calendar, they're like, hey, like we didn't make this investment, but we know we're going to use this equipment. Are they pretty planned, or is it?
Some are pre-planned, but then they usually have to, give me a heads up once we get within a week or a few days, and then a lot of times it's a few days notice or even a day of, and then so it's usually a phone call or text. Some stuff through social media messaging and stuff like that too. So.
Okay, interesting you bring that up. I was just going to ask that because I know that from my experience back in ag and still working with some companies on the marketing arm of what we do in agriculture, what would you say like that impact of social media on your business has been? And I know you spend a bit of time on there being active. I see it on like LinkedIn, isn't Twitter for sure probably, and then are you guys on Instagram and Facebook as well?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and so how is that working for you? And what do you see the benefits of being on those platforms for your business?
I think it's good. Any visibility or getting out there is worthwhile. So any kind of traction you can get is something.
And do you feel like that has added more business like to the book? As you mentioned, like some folks are just like DMing you on there. They see a post and they're like, "Oh, right, it's time to."
It's helping. It's a slower grow, but it's just kind of another avenue of kind of a new word of mouth type of thing. It's just doing it by social media.
Yeah. I guess on that end of things too. I mean, we've seen it become more popular in as a general side of things, but the average age of the farmer used to be, I mean, quite aged. Do you see that demographic change and with who's involved in the farm in terms of it being tied to social media, that being a younger generation who's contacting you about products to rent?
It varies. There's there's younger guys, but then there's also the older guys that are still, well,
Yeah.
some through social media, some of them are, still phone or text. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's tricky to have that balance of like where are you going to get contacted, right? Is it
yeah.
email, website, social media? You
Yeah.
got to balance
Right.
all of
The
that stuff.
these benefits of smartphones, you got everything in your hands ready. So
Right.
like I tell people, anytime I got my phone on me, I'm at work or
Yeah,
I'm available, ready to work, kind of thing, right? So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I guess what are your guys' hours down there in this? I know that busy season in eggs sees no end to the day. Maybe.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a gray area. I mean, well, we've kind of set like 8 to 5 kind of thing as
Right.
hours, but I mean, we can. I'm open anytime. I'll and usually with farmers they call, text, whatever, anytime. So then
Yeah,
it's not really, it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah,
absolutely.
try to be available for anybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. What do you see as the leading crop this year in the area for you guys, and what you guys are going to have to like service and help out with? What does that look like for the local ag side of things? I know you mentioned on farm what you guys are growing, but are there any other popular crops this year that you're were that you're seeing?
Well, I see a lot of corn out there and some other crops which are high residue crops. So that it could be a lot of tillage work to be done. Depends on their practices.
Right. In which cases do you see more tillage then? As you mentioned, like high residue, and for folks
Higher
like,
residue often is where you want it, where guys would want to till more. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
could you explain that a little bit further for someone who maybe doesn't know what that means in terms of like what's left on the field exactly? Like, what are you tilling out there for them? Could you explain that a little bit more?
You're just because you want to have a little more black soil on top, or for heat in spring, but you also want to that help warm up the soil, but also want to help with the breakdown of the residue as well by chopping it up a bit and putting some into the soil and just giving the soil also some organic material within it to hold it there.
Awesome. And that's basically like after harvest, what's left on, we'll say like the corn plant is the stalk and it's sitting there, and then you would come in, or farmer would come in with tilling equipment behind that and chop it up
Yeah,
for that purpose there. So
exactly. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's great. There's what would be, I guess, like other activities that folks would be renting the equipment from you guys on that end of things? You mentioned like kind of more like harvest stuff, but what about in the spring? You meant like deep tilling a little bit, but is there anything else that you'd be using like rollers for, or anything like that? For
Rolling usually in like pulse crops like peas and soybeans. Guys want to roll them so because you run your header right on the ground, so you want to limit dirt getting in your combine and dirt and stones. So you don't want any of that because you want a smooth field.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's the purpose of that process for them? Like I said, I'm kind of backing up here just to explain this to folks a little bit more in detail.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
for for like rolling a crop, like is it already out of the ground? Like break that down for us.
you'll do it right after. Most guys do it right after seeding.
Okay.
So and you'll roll it, and that'll help create the seed to soil better contact, so for better germination, and also the smooth field for better harvestability as well. So yeah.
Awesome. I think that's great. That makes it easy to understand what's going on out there for that sort of the process. But I know some folks may not always appreciate or think about that for where their food is coming from. Speaking of raw
Right.
stuff, Do you guys do any rock picking equipment on that end of things for rent?
I've got a rock hook, and I got a rock rake, but nothing else yet. But we'll see what the future brings as far as pickers go and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Is that a big issue in the area? I know other areas certainly are. As I drive up through the Inner Lake, it's just like a rock field in
Yeah.
many cases. But do you guys come across rocks down your way?
Oh yeah, there's varying areas, and some areas are worse than others. But yeah, there's always
Always,
rocks to be picked. Yeah.
yeah, always the case.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. What's what's one of your favorite pieces of equipment that you guys go out for whatever reason? Maybe it's easier to load, or you just have a favorite off the fleet that you guys currently have.
Oh, favorites. That's hard. That's hard to pick. I mean, yeah, definitely the high speed discs are always fun to send out, and they're a fun tool, and they do leave a fantastic job. I just wish more guys could experience that by using it, and I definitely recommend using it on a rotational basis, not to use it all the time, but run it when you have your higher residual crops or whatever, or every so number of years to break down the residue.
Interesting you say that. And so, can you dive into a little bit more about crop rotation and why you recommend it rotationally and not every single year?
Well, if you're tilling too often, then you're creating too much soil disturbance. So, I mean, there's varying agronomy processes. So, yeah, you don't want your wind to blow the soil. So, yeah, I don't recommend tilling it too often or too much. It's
And so, Duane, are you saying like if you were to do this every year, you may be losing topsoil from the field basically, but if you do it kind of periodically, then you're having less of that effect ultimately on the
right.
on the sorry.
Yeah, over the number of years, you'll get build up, and so if you do it it's a process called rotational tillage. So
Okay.
I rotate with your higher residual cereals and corn crops, and then there's a different also like peas and soybeans also have some tough residual as well, so it sometimes needs to be broke down a bit too, depending on the season.
Yeah, interesting. And peas have become very popular in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding outside in, from what I see,
Right.
tweeting about what extra care do they take on the plant side of things and equipment? Because it sounds like it might be tilling, but do they also require being rolled?
Yeah, definitely roll them after planting, and then they use your usual herbicide applications and so forth and fungicide, and then they usually are earlier harvested crop, and
When do peas normally come off then for harvest?
it'll be August sometime probably.
Okay, so it'll be a little bit sooner. I feel like I lost grasp of that through not chatting directly all the time. But that's actually pretty soon. So
Right.
we'll have a little bit of downtime before August, and then off to the races for harvest on.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And Duane, when you guys are out, you're not. I mean, you guys cover that local area, but over like off season, do you spend time with any equipment come winter time at all, or what are you guys focused on that time of year?
I don't have a lot of equipment to run in winter. I have a few trailers, enclosed trailers and stuff like that I rent out. People need to move and stuff like that, so they
Awesome.
rent out well for that. And then other than that, I've got some tractors that I'm starting to rent this year too. So we're gonna see how that goes. See if we can get some off-season rentals out of them as well.
Great. And so I guess with that, what you just mentioned tractors so subtly there is like a new piece of equipment. Are there any other new pieces of equipment that you guys have brought in like in the last couple of years that have gone over really well for your side of the business and also helping folks out?
Oh, good question. I mean, it can't remember what my last piece of equipment is that I've gotten. We just recently, yeah, yeah, tough to say. We got a mole plow here now for drainage, so
Okay.
it kind of mimics drain tile applications. So
Okay.
that's going to be, I hopefully a good rental this fall.
How
And
does how does that work exactly? I think I have an idea, but I want to hear it from you. I don't want to sound silly.
it's a single shank machine that it pulls a like a bullet behind it, which creates a mole hole, like it just creates a hole, a trench, or a hole through the ground
Okay.
lower down, and yeah, it's just for water for water transportation.
Awesome. And it's creating more of like a like this, or is it more like
Like
that?
you won't see anything on top. It doesn't disturb the top really much at
It'll
all.
just be under. Okay. So
Hmm.
that's all like flat. It's more of like an undersurface.
It's an undersurface thing, yeah.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Very awesome. How deep does that go then?
Anywhere from 2 feet to 4 feet down.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little different than what I was saying. I'm glad I asked you about
Hmm.
that. I would have guessed wrong on that one with the way you
Okay.
were describing it. So
Yeah.
okay, very cool. So
Yeah.
maybe,
Well, I'm
yeah, I
excited
think
to see how that goes. And yeah.
awesome. Have many folks used that in your geography yet?
Not yet. It's just something we just barely got. So
For
we're
sure,
just, yeah.
but it's not so like it's not newer technology in the space like other people have
No,
used
it's
it.
not. It's not brand new technology. No, it's been around for a while. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Well, that
Hmm.
sounds very exciting. I'm sure that people will be more. It's so funny how we go through probably like dry and then a very wet year, and you don't even think about doing the tiling stuff on a dry year like last year. But definitely considered spending time in that area now,
Hmm.
seeing how much moisture potentially is in the area. And
Yeah.
what does it look? I'm sure it's often discussed in the area, but what did that look like for on average? How much more moisture have you gotten this year in the area on farm where you guys are?
Well, I'm not. Well, yeah, we quite a bit more than last year already. But
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not familiar exactly with what the rainfall totals are exactly. But yeah, we're definitely well ahead of last year.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we'll have to reference
I
that.
mean, yeah, probably ahead of the totals for last year even. So
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like we got like not a lot of rain. My backyard looks like a jungle.
yeah, yeah,
Everything is growing, and I'm sure the crops are looking good in the area as well.
yeah. It seems to be everything seems to be looking pretty good. So yeah, that's yeah.
What's the best looking crop in the area, Duane, for you guys right now?
Well, that's hard to say. Everything's looking pretty good so far. So yeah. I'm not gonna say which one's the best looking. They're all yeah. But
Depends
like the saying goes, it's not in the bin yet.
yeah,
So we'll wait and see till when they get in there with combines.
yeah. Do you guys do any work in the bin space at all, Duane? I noticed that you have some bins just happen to be in the background of the photo, but
Yeah, those are just storage, but
sure.
um. Yeah, well, through Flamin, I can offer referrals on bin sales. So if you reach out to me, I can na- pass names and contact info on, and we'll definitely get you connected with some bin sales. Um, yeah, Flamin is big into bins and grain cleaning equipment. So
Very
yeah.
clean too. Okay, awesome. And is there any like smaller equipment stuff that you guys offer? Is it mostly like we'll call it XL sized stuff that
No,
you work with?
we got a like a 10-foot box blade and like I said, 15-foot mower and yeah, there's a few other smaller things, but yeah,
Okay.
it's mostly bigger for field equipment, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely noticeable when it's gone out to go to work for
hmm
you guys. Not something
yeah,
you put in the back of the truck. It's definitely being pulled. So
right.
okay, no, that's super great to hear. Now, how about trade show wise? Do you guys go on a bit of a tour normally for seeing other trade shows and attending those come fall and winter time?
I attend shows. I don't have a booth at any shows, but I just, go attendance. I mean, summertime we go to AgriMotion in at Langham or Saskatoon there, and
Yeah.
then winter's Ag Days at Brandon, and then we'll see what else we hit along the way. But those are kind of some of the main shows I hit.
Yeah, the staples. I mean, those are great shows. I've definitely attended a few of those over the years in ag and outside of ag too. They're fantastic events to be at and really understand what's going on in modern ag. See some of the unique and different ideas out there too. Have you ever come across a piece of equipment at a show that you're like, hey, we need to get this and we got to bring it in to rent out or explore doing that?
Yeah, you're always looking for something different or what's next kind of thing. How to build forward and how you can help the ag industry grow in your area.
Yeah.
And how you can help out. Yeah.
How about some of the equipment that's out there that I've seen just kind of floating there? So we don't have to make it a total focus, but there's some stuff out there that's kind of like drive itself. Whatever little robots and for like weed picking. I got kind of down a rabbit hole the other day on my algorithm. Stuff like that ever on your guys' radar for considering bringing it in to like test out on some farms or possibly rent in the future?
Haven't gotten too far into that. I mean, like there's the drone spray on applications now
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, I just haven't gotten into too deep into that yet. So just kind of see where things go with that and stuff like that. But yeah.
How many years away do you think we are from using equipment, although that's a little bit more tech focused? I know like there is definitely technology within, the equipment that you're using for various reasons. But to kind of, get into the stuff that is kind of like self-driving or like you mentioned, like drones, like for those being like popular, do you think that is on the horizon here, or is it, I know some of it's already being used and kind of tested more so, but
Some will be on the horizon. I'm not sure to what point or how many years we're looking, but
yeah.
I mean, it's just hard to say exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of technology in equipment already.
Yeah.
Tractors and combines and sprayers. Yeah. But,
Yeah. 100%. Those are sometimes looking a little bit more complicated than inside of a plane or equivalent to.
Yeah, you got a lot of screens and stuff there.
Yeah. Awesome. How about on farm? What's your favorite piece of equipment to drive?
Oh, I don't get to drive too much on the farm.
Yeah.
Rental's pretty busy, but no, generally I get to get in a combine and operate a combine, so that's it's always a thrill to get to take the crop off and bring the harvest in. So
Right.
it's always a good time then.
Yeah, lots of good energy in fall, assuming that it's hopefully the weather's decent for a good chunk of it.
Right.
Usually, yeah, hold tight there. But can we switch gears and go back to the fitness? I wrote down something here
Sure.
when we were chatting. But one of the things that I hear other people say often is, like without kind of like that goal set in mind, yeah, you can have different like fitness goals, but do you have things that keep you very, obviously outside of just being like driven, but have you, ever doing like contests or different kinds of races that you're kind of training for with that kind of mindset of, hey, this is, a date on the calendar for me come fall, that's what I'm training for? Or is it just general drive to improve that you stay on that routine?
No, I've never done any competitions as far as bodybuilding goes or anything, but I'm a bit of a runner, so I do right now lately I've been doing 1 or 2 10K races a year, and
Nice.
so I always for the month leading up to that I train a little harder for that, so a little more endurance based, and
Yeah.
but other than that, it's usual training, regular. I try to keep a pretty steady training regiment throughout my every week. So,
Well, what does your routine normally look like?
well, I try to work out 5 to 6 days a week, but some weeks get busy, so I'm down to 4 sometimes. But
Yeah.
My workouts are usually, hour and a half to 2 hours long sometimes. So,
wow. Yeah, that's a good shift. I'm thinking like, 30, 40 minutes for the weight side of things for myself personally. But if it's
yeah.
an endurance, like maybe a little bit longer, I seem to have like that, the runner's high, whether it be swimming, biking, or running on my
Yeah.
triathlon program. But
Mhm.
how about on the running side specifically? What does your race training look like on that side? Are you running a lot further than that in anticipation of the race, or is it kind of only up to a certain point for
I'm
training?
just basically doing, 6 miles or 10K uh, training runs, and I'll do one. I basically do one a week
Okay.
leading up to the race. And so that's, yeah. Other than that, I just, do a lot of incline training on treadmill or something like that, or some shorter runs outside as well.
Nice. That's awesome. So I mean, just consistency over time, and then that those. Do you have any races coming up?
Not right now. It'll be fall. If
Yeah.
I got one in fall, I'm thinking about doing. But yeah.
Yeah. Which ones are you doing? Like that? Is that the fire one? Is that that's one?
No, there's one in Winkler, Manitoba
Okay.
that I've got. So thanks for giving 10K run.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. Anything you want to share with the listener that is up and coming for you guys with regards to the business side of things? Do you guys have anything going on locally there for anyone in the area with regards to business?
Nothing specifically, just if you ever want to check out the equipment, just give me a shout,
Yeah.
call or text me, and I'll gladly meet you and to run you through all our equipment there and have anybody interested in having a look. Yeah.
Awesome. And like you mentioned, I guess like call, text, and we'll include that in some communication there. But you guys have a website and social medias. What are those handles look like for you? Without, I know that you wrote them down, listing them all out, but they must be pretty close. So what are those handles if someone wants to follow?
Well, our website's TheissenAgriVentures.ca, and then Twitter or X is Thiessen_ag. And then Instagram's Thiessen_ag_Flamen. And Facebook is Thiessen Adventures Flamen Rentals. So,
Awesome.
mm-hmm.
Good. Those will be written below here if you're watching the episode. So you'll be able to click on those links and check us out there. So I think this has been awesome, Duane. I really appreciate you making time in the middle of summer. Although I know you mentioned it's a little bit of a lull, and this episode will be launched in August here for us. So hopefully we can get the word out about what you guys are doing and get some folks headed your way for rentals for equipment in the area here. I think it's been great lately. We've had some other agriculture focused guests. It's been neat to hear about different parts of the industry and what's involved in the equipment rental side and just how important that can be for different seasons like we heard today. Mm-hmm. So thank you again for making time to chat with us about what you do both in and out of the office. I guess ultimately we should say that because there's always life outside, and I think it's
right
that you're so driven like that. I think that there's definitely, as I mentioned before and in the episode here too, is there's definitely got to be overlay between that fitness focus and that success in business and growing the brand that way, and ultimately being disciplined to do both and show up. It sounds like almost every day in the gym. I laughed there when you said on the low end 4 days a week. Some people struggle to get it a couple of times, so it's great to hear that that's the low end of your routine. So I really appreciate you making time here, Duane.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's been great. Thanks, Duane. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Talk to you soon.